Here's something you probably didn't know you needed in your motorhome, caravan, RV, shed, whatever. A wireless router. This is the GL.iNet X2000 Spitz Plus 4G LTE Wi-Fi 6 router. Okay, I can hear you saying, Josh, what the hell do I need a router in my RV for? Well, I can think of quite a few different scenarios where one of these is going to come in super handy. The first example is how I'm using it right now. So I'm parked up in the motorhome here. We have very, very patchy 4G and 5G cellular network in this area. I can connect my devices to the Wi-Fi in the house that I'm parked at, but unfortunately, because of all the interference around here, all the other Wi-Fi networks, there's power lines overhead, there's a little bit of distance between the motorhome and the house, and where the router inside is not an ideal position, so the signal is really, really weak, and I couldn't actually get a stable connection from my desktop PC to the Wi-Fi inside, especially with the motorhome all closed up. Obviously you can run something like this in Wi-Fi repeater mode. Now, because it's got bigger antennas, you can mount it up higher and in a position that's going to get a better signal. It can connect to another Wi-Fi network and repeat that in here, so you've got a super strong connection between your phone and this. Obviously it's right there, and then that thing connects to the other Wi-Fi, the other network, and of course you get a nice strong signal in here. Now, I've actually been using this Spitz Plus in that way for a few weeks now, and it's been rock solid. I don't know how I did without it in the past. The Wi-Fi would be dropping out here all the time. This thing just stays on all the time. It uses very little power. We're going to test that out a bit later in the video, and it has a whole bunch of different failover connection options. You've got dual SIM card slots, you've got Wi-Fi repeater mode, you've got Ethernet ports on there if you want to connect it to a wide network. But firstly, let's consider another scenario. So if you're traveling full-time or even just on weekends or whatever, and you're traveling with your kids who have all their iPads, devices, whatever, all your stuff, all those electronic devices, even your own phones, your laptops, your iPads, your desktop PCs, whatever. So basically every time you pull up to a new caravan park or whatever and you want to connect to their guest Wi-Fi, you have to get the Wi-Fi network and password and input it into each and every single one of those devices. All your kids' your Kindles, all your kids' iPads, all that stuff. I mean, obviously you probably want your kids to be outside playing when you're, camping or whatever. But we know what kids are like with their devices, and ourselves too. Let's not forget about that. Now, with something like this in your RV, you can have all your devices already connected to your own Wi-Fi network here, so you can call that Wi-Fi network whatever you want, your motorhome, your Smith family Wi-Fi network or whatever. When you pull up to a new caravan park, all you do is go into the settings of this thing, either on your laptop or your phone or whatever, and connect that one to the Wi-Fi at the caravan park. It's going to have a much better signal for starters, and it's going to share that Wi-Fi network with all your devices without having to individually input the password and everything onto every single device that you have. So yeah, definitely if you're traveling around a lot connecting to guest Wi-Fi networks, then something like this is going to save you a lot of time, especially if you have a lot of devices. Now also, of course, because this thing has two SIM card slots, you can get a data SIM, put that in there. It's got the nice big 4G antennas, so it's going to get a good signal, probably better than what your phone's going to get. And then of course all your devices that are automatically connected to this router will be able to access that 4G data from the router itself. And that's actually something that I haven't tested with it yet, but I will be testing that in this video. I'll be taking the SIM card out of my phone, popping it in there and seeing just how well it connects, because as I said, this is a really bad cell coverage area here. All right, real quick, future Josh here who actually knows how to use a razor. I'm just going to jump in and quickly mention the elephant in the room, which is of course Starlink. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you'll know that I did have a Starlink dish and I was using that when we traveled, but I have since sold that because they kept putting the price of it up, the monthly subscription. I think it's nearly $200 a month now for the roaming plan. It was just too expensive for me, but obviously if you're going super remote, you're going to need Starlink. You're not going to be able to get mobile phone signal in the middle of nowhere. But if you are a lot of the time in areas with mobile phone coverage, one of these is probably going to do you just fine. And if you've got the know-how, of course, you can always use one of these with your Starlink. So yeah, anyway, back to Scruffy Josh. We do also have a USB-A port right on the router there, so you can plug in a USB flash drive or a hard drive or whatever if you wanted to share any media on your local network in here, whether it's photos, movies, music, whatever. And I'll tell you what, this Wi-Fi 6 is blisteringly fast. It's so good. Now, because I have my own little network in here now with that router, what I often do is back up all my photos and stuff like that from my phone onto my hard drives on my computer. Now, because both the computer and this phone are connected to that Wi-Fi network there, copying data from my phone to the computer is so fast, so much faster than what it was before. It almost seems like it's faster than plugging a cable into this thing. It's so good. So backing up my photos, super quick. I love it. All right, real quick speed test between the phone and the PC through the Wi-Fi network. We have just under 830 megabytes worth of photos in my camera folder. Copy those, go over to the PC folder, paste them here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's copying at 12.5 megabytes per second. So to copy nearly 1 gig worth of photos, it's taking less than a minute. So yeah, that is megabytes per second, not megabits, so really fast. Now the router itself runs on a version of OpenWRT, which is a really good software for the back end of routers, and I found it just so easy and fast to use. It's so easy to configure. All the settings in there, anyone can do it. What we're going to do now is hop onto the computer and I'll show you guys basically the interface, how easy it is to connect to another Wi-Fi network and all that sort of stuff, and we'll go through a few of the different options. Alright, to the PC. So as with most routers, you go into your web browser to access the settings, and with this one, the default IP address is 192.168.8.1. Now I have already set up my password here, so it's all saved and I can just log in. And if we have a look at the screen here, it shows all your different internet access modes. You've got Ethernet 1 and 2. We're in repeater mode, Wi-Fi repeater mode at the moment. You've got tethering, so you can tether your phone with a cable to the unit. And then you've got your cellular data, of course. Now, because we are in Wi-Fi repeater mode, we are obviously connected to this other Wi-Fi network here. If, for example, we pulled up to a caravan park and we had the guest Wi-Fi password and everything, we would just click on this switch network here. And of course, we have a list of available networks down here. We just connect to one of these. For example, click that, then you'd type in your password and you can either remember it or not. Literally as easy as that, and then you'll be sharing that network with all your clients sort of connected to your local router here. Now obviously we have both 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi networks. You can change all of the settings on this page here, the wireless page. You can change your Wi-Fi name, you can change your password, the signal strength, all that stuff. You can also turn on and off your own guest Wi-Fi. So we have both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz guest Wi-Fi networks. You go down to the clients page, it's going to show you all the connected devices that you have. Now another cool thing about this router is it has a whole bunch of awesome VPN settings. So it's not something that I use myself, but VPNs, I know a lot of people do like to use those. So if that's your thing, it's got all this stuff. You've got AdGuard, parental control. Now the router does actually have network acceleration, and I've got that turned on, but that stops you from being able to use the parental control, but you can turn that off if you need to. In the network setting, we've got the firewall settings here, we've got multi-WAN, obviously we are in repeater mode. You can change the interface priority down here. You can change the router's IP address on the LAN page, set your DHCP address range, and you can also do DHCP address reservation, which is a hugely advantageous thing for me to use. If you don't know what that is, you probably don't need it. You can change your DNS servers and all that sort of stuff. Now this network mode is interesting. So I've got mine set to router, so I've got my own private network, which obviously connects to another network. You can use it as an access point if you have a wide connection to another network. You can use it in basic extender mode, so if you wanted to just extend the Wi-Fi coverage of another network and not worry about having your own private network, so you won't have the NAT and the firewall and the DHCP stuff. We'll just use all that stuff from the other network, but I prefer having my own little network here. You can turn on IPv6 if you want to. I won't go into too many of these other settings here, guys, but there's the network acceleration setting if you want to turn that off. Then under the system settings, you can update the firmware. I already did that. You can schedule the LEDs on the front of the router to turn off at night time if they bother you. So you can do all that stuff in here. Schedule a reboot, schedule when the Wi-Fi comes on and off. And then this is pretty cool, the overview. So it shows you the CPU load in the router. It shows you if your fan is on. It does actually have a fan if it gets too hot. You can change the temperature that the fan comes on at. I've got it set to 80 degrees. I have never heard the fan come on, but it is winter time here. And as you can see here, the current temperature is sitting on 61, so it's got a fair way to go to get to 80. You can turn on and off the LEDs. Down here with the system info, it shows you the uptime of the router and all that geeky stuff. So yeah, very nice, quick interface. This OpenWRT is really nice. But yeah, one thing that's pretty important if you're running, off-grid is the power consumption of all your devices. So we're going to see, just how much this router draws. So we'll go and check that out now. Real quick before we test the power consumption of this thing, I just want to show you guys how easy it is to mount. So it does come with this backing plate that you can either screw or stick to the wall. It does come with this adhesive pad that you can use to stick that mount to the wall. I've just used a couple of small bits of double-sided tape to attach mine. And of course you also get some screws if you'd rather screw it to the wall. Now it can also obviously sit flat on a desk or whatever if you wanted to do it that way. It's got little rubber feet there. And once you've got the mount attached, then it basically just clicks in like so. Too easy. You do also get an AC adapter with it and a whole bunch of different plug configurations for different countries. And they even throw in a network cable. But because the device itself does run off of 12 volts, I've just got mine hooked directly into my 12 volt battery. So I've got a 12 volt power source coming down here. No worries, it just stays on permanently. There's a little plug here. There's a fairly standard 12 volt style plug. Now mine also came with this in a separate bag. I'm not sure if this is a standard thing or something that you have to order separately, but it's a USB-C to 12 volt plug style adapter, so you can actually run the router off a USB port, which is quite handy, which is the way we'll be doing it to test the power consumption. Okay, now of course these antennas are fully adjustable. Got the 4G LTE ones on the outside and the Wi-Fi 6 ones are the two inside ones. Now we'll do a power consumption test. Here's the little adapter cable that I mentioned. Just plug that in there. And we just basically need any USB-C cable to plug in here. You do need a certain amount of power output. I'm not sure exactly how many watts you need. Alright, we'll go ahead and power it up now. What I'm going to do is also time how long it takes for the Wi-Fi to actually become active, so how long it takes to boot up, and we'll also keep an eye on how much power it's using. Okay, so here we go. Plug it in, hit the stopwatch, power light is on, drawing about 3 watts. Okay, so approximately 2 minutes and 15 seconds for the local Wi-Fi networks to become active. There we go. So just about to 3 minutes. So yeah, about 2 minutes to get your Wi-Fi network going, another minute to connect to the remote Wi-Fi. So around about 3 minutes full on boot up time, which is why it's good to just leave this thing running all the time. And as you can see here, it's varying between about 5 and 7 watts, just sharing that Wi-Fi network. It is sharing a 5 gigahertz network. We'll do a little speed test here just to see if it uses up any more power. That's about as fast as our NBN network will go here, about 33 megabits per second. Still sitting on about 6 watts. Oh, bumped up to 11 watts there. Uploading at 11 megabits per second, but yeah, settling back to about 6 watts. So I'm going to start downloading a 1.4 gigabyte file here on the desktop. We'll get that speed test going on the phone as well at the same time. Still sitting on 6 to 7 watts, so bumped up to 10, 11, back to 7. So there you go, with multiple users sharing a Wi-Fi network, it can get up around 10, 12 watts, but that's running full speed downloads. Alright, so we'll try out the mobile data on this guy now. I've got the SIM card out of my phone there. See if we can figure out how to get that thing in there. I think the first thing we should do is power it off. So I'll just unplug the power there. I need to open up the little slot on the side here, little cover. You can see your 2 SIM card slots. Now apparently they are nano SIM card slots. Okay, so it looks like it goes in with the contacts facing upwards and the little cutout at the top right there, the front. Push it in till it clicks in. little cover back on and fire it up, see what happens. Okay, so logging back into the router settings here, once it's all booted up again, we can see down here we've got the LD Mobile 4G. That is my SIM card there. So what I'm going to do is disable the Wi-Fi. So I think we must go to auto setup here. Okay, so eventually it's connected. We seem to have internet. We switch to another tab, we should be able to use the internet here. It's not going to be super quick, as I've mentioned, the cellular data isn't real good here, but it is working. So just doing a speed test using the cellular data. Won't worry about checking out the speeds, I just want to see if the actual power usage goes up, but yeah, still sitting around about 6 to 10 watts, 7 there. So yeah, obviously doesn't use much more power when you're using the 4G as opposed to repeating a Wi-Fi signal. So pretty good. Anyway, I won't actually do any proper speed tests until I get the router itself mounted back up on the wall so that the antennas and that are higher up. You know, it's sort of more optimally positioned for better speed. So we'll go ahead and do that now. We've finished the power tests. You can pretty much count on around about 6 watts when it's idle, up to maybe 12 watts tops. If you've got maybe 10 devices all using the internet at the same time, it may go up a bit more. You can, of course, get optionally external antennas for this. So these do unscrew from the unit, and you can get external antennas that, you know, have a wire that runs up to your roof or whatever, and you can have antennas, you know, that obviously work a lot better. But so far, these little things seem to be working really well. Okay, we're back up and running again. It's pretty handy having the little cellular signal strength indicator on there. Showing we've got 2 bars. Just jumped up to 3 bars, but yeah, I don't think the throughput's actually that good here. But anyway, we'll go ahead and do a speed test. So we are still connected to LD Mobile 4G there. You can see, I don't know what any of this means here, but we've got one thing that says excellent, the rest of it's pretty ordinary. Now we go over to the speed test and we'll see how we go here. Yeah, the wired NBN here, we generally get about 35 as you saw. So that 55 is actually faster, so that's pretty good. The upload is, yeah, always pretty ordinary on this 4G network in this area. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's not the router's fault. Alright, I'm going to whip the SIM card back out of the router now. There's one more thing I want to try, and that is hotspotting my phone through the router and then sharing that with the rest of the devices here. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, this will be a good test of how easy it is to get back onto Wi-Fi repeater mode once you remove a SIM card from the device. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the hotspot on my phone. Okay, that is operational. I'll put my phone somewhere where it hopefully will get a good signal. Then we go down here to repeater mode and hopefully we can connect here. Okay, so the Josh network, that's my hotspot. It is connected. Okay, so my hotspot is obviously 2.4 gigahertz. Alright, looks like we have a good connection, everything working as expected. So yeah, I'm having a little bit of trouble here, guys. Obviously, you know, as I said, the cell coverage is pretty bad here, and just relying on the internal antennas inside a mobile phone is not good enough. Yeah, it's obviously way better to put the SIM card in the router itself, or get a dedicated data SIM card to keep in the router. Okay, so I have connected my phone with a USB cable to the router there and set it to USB tethering mode. Okay, so going back into the router settings, we can see here the tethering option, USB 0 Android. We'll connect there, see what happens. Looks like it's a go. It is not fast. As you can imagine, we're using the internal antennas on the phone again, but it is wired to the router this time, so we'll see what happens. It is actually giving us some throughput at least. There we go. Yeah, it looks like about 5 is going to be the max for that, where it is sitting at the moment. Obviously much better throughput with that SIM card in the router using those big antennas, but yeah, this works too, so that's good. Alright, so I might rattle off a few specs here while we do a quick unboxing of the actual Spitz Plus itself. There are a lot of features and stuff that I haven't mentioned in this video so far, such as rather than just having failover to different connection methods like your Ethernet and your 4G and all that stuff, you can actually load balance between them. So if you've got a SIM card in there with a 4G connection as well as a Wi-Fi repeater set up, you can use both of those at the same time for effectively, almost double the throughput and that sort of thing. Not something that I've tried out, but yeah, it's there if you want it. Now we are looking at a Qualcomm dual-core 1 GHz CPU in the Spitz. It's got 512 megs of DDR3 RAM. The max Wi-Fi speed is 574 megabits per second on the 2.4 GHz band and 2402 megabits per second on the 5 GHz band. The Ethernet's up to 1 gigabit, of course, and it's recommended to use 12 volt, 2.5 amps, but it can handle anything between 9 and 36 volts. The listed power consumption is less than 14 watts, so yeah, that's definitely what I've found. The 5 GHz Wi-Fi also features DFS, or dynamic frequency selection, so that can speed it up quite a bit. And yeah, as I mentioned, it's got all those VPN options, so it comes pre-installed with OpenVPN and also WireGuard, which support over 30 VPN services. Okay, so the usual wrap up. Should you buy this? Well, only you can decide if it's something that you would use or you need. As I said, I've been using it for quite a while now. I actually checked, it's almost a month that I've been using the Spitz Plus, and it's been faultless, absolutely perfect, hasn't locked up or anything. I don't bother to reboot it at all. Sometimes it gets disconnected if I'm working on the power system in the motorhome, but otherwise it just keeps on going. Now this isn't just some random sponsorship promotion thing. Like, I actually wanted something like this, and I was so impressed with GL.iNet products that I hit them up and asked if they'd be interested in working with me on something like this, and they were keen, so they recommended the Spitz Plus to me, and yeah, it's really good for my scenario. So yeah, it just seems like a really solid product. It's well built, the software is flawless, it's just really good, does everything I need it to do. Stable connection. Like before, to give you an example, as you'd know, the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi is much better at going through walls and longer distance and that sort of thing, whereas the 5 gigahertz is faster, but it's, yeah, you've got to be closer to the router. I was flat out connecting my PC to the 2.4 gigahertz router inside before. Now, I'm connected to the 5 gigahertz with this one, and it's blisteringly quick. Like, it's amazingly fast. Like, the internet here is not really fast, but the connection between my devices and this is super quick, and the connection between this thing and that router is freaking awesome. So yeah, I am well pleased with the Spitz Plus, guys. I can highly recommend it without a doubt. And of course, big thanks to GL.iNet for sponsoring this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed or got some sort of useful information out of it, or maybe inspiration to go and spend a bit more money. I'm not sure yet whether or not they're going to give me a discount code for you guys, but if there is one, it'll be of course down in the description, along with a link to purchase this product if you want one, or check out their other range of travel routers. They've got home routers, all that sort of thing, and yeah, they're not cheap, crappy quality. They are good. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.